If you spent months or maybe even years trying to figure out why your adult child cut you off, or why someone did what they did that broke everything, and it always seems to come back to things like their partner or social media or whatever happened in therapy. I want you to know you're looking in the wrong place. Those paths are dead ends. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the single most important truth about estrangement that you need to face if you ever want to find peace, regardless of whether or not they ever come back. In case we haven't met, I'm Diana, and I help women heal their hearts and rebuild their peace after family estrangement. If you've been walking around with that constant ache in your chest, replaying every conversation in your head, wondering what you missed or why things went so wrong, especially when they felt fine to you, or after you've done so much for them, you're in the right place. I know the pain of estrangement is immense. I've lived through all sides of it myself, as a mom, as a daughter-in-law. It's hard stuff, and it leaves a gaping wound in your soul that can feel impossible to heal. I also know the urge to fix it, to figure it out, and to find out what happened is overwhelming. We don't like those open loops. They're uncomfortable. But what if I told you the very way that you're approaching these questions or where you're looking for answers may actually be what's keeping you stuck? When someone we love cuts us off, our minds start to scramble. We're looking for a reason. We want to find some way for it to make sense or to explain the pain. And in its own twisted way, it can be really comforting to point to things like social media, the partner, the toxic culture, or whatever you're hearing about online. It gives us something concrete to hold on to. It gives easy explanations that seem to make sense. But even more, it also gives us a villain. It lets us off the hook, and it shifts all the responsibility for fixing the problem to someone else. But here's the truth. That mindset may be the very thing that is blocking your path. It's what we call the blame trap. When you blame external factors, you're essentially saying, I can't do anything until they change. And so you're waiting for your child's partner to disappear, for social media to vanish, or for a therapist to change their mind. And you're waiting for something outside of you to shift. But here's the thing. You're focusing on variables that you have absolutely no control over. Every time you focus on things like, why did they do this? Why did this happen? Instead of, what is this situation showing me? You're handing over your power, and you're trapping yourself in a loop of waiting, analyzing, and hurting without actually healing. You've likely heard someone say, or maybe you've even said it yourself, just give it time. They'll come back to themselves and this will all be fixed. And while you wait, days turn into weeks, and weeks turn into months, and months turn into years, and nothing really changes. There's a popular saying out there that time heals all wounds, but in reality, time doesn't heal the wounds that you never tend to. Waiting it out only reinforces silence. It gives both sides more time to build their walls, to rewrite stories, and to collect more and more evidence of who's right and who's wrong. And it's never going to go anywhere productive, because healing doesn't happen by default. It happens with intention. And that leads us to that most crucial insight. The only factor in this entire painful equation that you have any control over, or that you have the power to truly change, is yourself. Now, before you recoil and think, oh, so it's all my fault now? No, that's not what I'm saying. There are two sides to everything. These situations are complex. Sometimes there's more than two sides, and every story is different. And so we don't want anybody collapsing in shame or blame. Turning inward and looking at yourself is about empowerment. It's shifting the focus to what you can control. And it's about focusing your precious energy, your precious reserves, where they can actually make the most difference for you and for your own mental wellness and your self-respect. What it's really about is accepting responsibility for your own healing journey. You can't rewrite their narratives. We can't undo their pain or convince them to see things your way. But you can learn to see yourself more clearly. You can examine how you communicate, what triggers your own defensiveness, and which of your own wounds that you might or might not have even known were there are still running the show. My friend, this is where real transformation begins. Even if your adult child never comes back, even if they never speak to you again, peace is still within your grasp. Your peace is still within your grasp. But it is going to require that you look inward, not to find blame or shame, but to start becoming the kind of person who can hold peace and who can claim peace no matter what goes on around them or no matter what anyone else says or does. Contrary to common belief, the real problem isn't the estrangement itself. It's the unhealed wounds and unhealed communication patterns that led to it. And I promise those wounds exist on both sides. It's not just one thing or one factor that caused the problem. Estrangement is almost always the culmination of years of interactions, expectations, and often misunderstandings that are really just the residue of past family conflict and too many things that have been left unsaid or gone unaddressed. I know there are many women out there who genuinely don't know what happened, or at least say they don't, and that's okay. The path forward isn't about trying to figure it all out or trying to get your child to confess what's going on or to even explain their actions. It's about investigating your own internal landscape. It's about looking at what unaddressed emotional pain are you carrying? What are your communication patterns? How did you respond to conflict? It's not about judging yourself or your past, but understanding it. It's about facing the problem head on and learning to cope with estrangement guilt, not by running from it or trying to hide from it or absorbing all the blame for all the things, but it's taking all of this and transforming it into a motivation for your own growth and healing. It doesn't really matter what the circumstances are because there's two people involved in this relationship, and no matter how hard you try, you can't change them. You can only change you. And when you do, you get to stop chasing peace and start creating it. Because honestly, peace isn't found in fixing the relationship. It's found in fixing what has been fractured inside of you. If you'd like some help in making that happen, a great place to start is with my workbook, Finding Peace After Estrangement. This is a self-contained little mini coaching program that will help you create your own pathway to peace. And it's readily available on Amazon.com to work through at your own pace. If you want some personalized support in working through it, I do have a couple of spots available for some solo boot campers. Those solo boot camper programs work just like my group book clubs, except it's just you and me working through it together, and you'll get a lot more personalized direction and support. It's a great way to wind down the year and start preparing for the coming holiday season. What you've heard here today is just the beginning of the journey. It's not about shifting blame or waiting it out. It's honestly about reclaiming your own power and peace in spite of whatever has happened. And I'm going to talk more about that in my next video. It may well be the very perfect next step you need in your healing journey from estrangement. Give it a click and I'll meet you over there.